Hi, and welcome to another edition of Team Talk. Well, we're still in the grips of a hot summer in Latvia, and speaking of hot streaks, I'm joined by the manager of the reserve team, John Whitmore. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, that's my pleasure, especially here in the shade.
So as mentioned in the intro, the Riga United reserves are on a bit of a hot streak at the moment, of being top of the table. What do you attribute to this success this season?
Yeah, I think you're right. So far it has been a very good season, and I put that down, I think, to two things. One is the coaching, undoubtedly, that Jeff and Justin are doing, because I think that one of the differences between Riga United and the opponents so far is that sometimes we've been able to keep the ball for long periods, which is something that some of the other teams struggle to do. Although they have been very strong, they're well disciplined, they're fit, and they play to the end, they've been excellent opponents. I can see that ball retention and the ability to pass it around the park is something that we've shown a little bit more of over the season. So that's the coaching and the players attitude. I think, well, now at least, I think it's excellent. You don't have to, you know, tell them to do the hard work, the work that maybe some people don't see. A good example, for example, would be Stefanos, our cameraman here. Watching him charge back the length of the pitch to mark their left winger, you know, it was a beautiful thing to see. It's not maybe something that comes naturally to him, but he did it, and that left winger didn't receive the ball, and therefore, well, these are the kind of small things that can change a game. So, and everyone's got an excellent attitude. I've been really impressed. They're prepared to play anywhere. We've had the centre-half crisis, but I've had you know, attacking players go play there, and they've not complained. And I think they really enjoy playing too. So it's a real pleasure. You know, it's fun. I mean, that's what it should be. We don't take it too seriously, I don't think. But at the same time, everybody wants to win, do their best. It's just an excellent attitude within the side. I've been really impressed, so it makes it very easy for me, basically.
Okay, good. So on Saturday you have FK Brīvais Vilnis. What are you looking from your team to try and beat them? How are you going to deal with them?
Brīvais Vilnis, well, they're going to be representing their hometown, which is Salaspils, up there on the coast. And just like all our opponents, they're going to be very difficult to beat. They'll have quite a few very talented players. They'll be well disciplined, and I think, as I mentioned in my previous answer, they'll never give up. In my previous experience with local teams, I had noticed and had formed the opinion that local teams tend to accept their fate. If they're losing, their heads tend to drop and they don't go to the end. But that's not the case in this league. Teams will put 3 up, 4 up, you know, to go for it, and they never believe they're going to lose. And so Brīvais Vilnis will be exactly the same. We were very actually lucky to beat them. We had a little bit of a Mexican soap opera moment at half time, but we came out very calm, changed the formation, and managed to beat them in the end. But they missed 2 penalties and were very unlucky to have a goal disallowed, so they could have quite easily won as well. It'd be just a really hard competitive game, and so in order to beat them, we just have to keep doing what we've been doing, which is doing, as well as the you know, the skillful passing moves, which we can do thanks to the players and thanks to the coaches. We've got to concentrate on not losing the midfield battle, and we've got to do, as I say, all that work that sometimes, you know, people not involved with football don't see. You know, the tracking back, the defending, the talking, the encouraging, all that kind of stuff. So if we do that, we have a good chance. But I think it'll be a great game, whatever the result.
So you've been with Riga United from the very beginning. We could even call you one of the originals. How have things changed at Riga United since you've been involved with this team? And what does Riga United mean to you?
Yes, it's true. I have been here a long time, and I think Emils Benders put it best, the legendary Emils Benders, when he said that I am an old Stegosaurus when it comes to Riga United. When I was involved, because there was a gap, I played for kind of 8 years, and then there's 4 years when I had nothing to do with the club because I was injured doing other things, and I've only really come back this year. And the difference, well, the differences are on one hand enormous. You know, we're playing in the Latvian Football Federation. We've got 6 teams, 2 adult teams, 4 youth teams. So there are great differences, but in many ways it's exactly the same club in its kind of attitude, you know, in its kind of stance or its aura or whatever however you want to describe it. It's a very welcoming club. It's got room for everybody, locals, foreigners, etc. I mean, a very wide range of people playing here from all kinds of backgrounds, and that was something I enjoyed then and I enjoy seeing now. It gives you the opportunity to meet people you wouldn't otherwise have met, and yeah, I find it just a very friendly club. How's it different? It's run more professionally now, but it's still got that amateur heart kind of beating away, and that's something I really respect. I respect the kind of amateur ethic, and I'm happy to help out because you know, when I went up in my role as interpreter to help Justin and Jeff with the meetings with the Latvian Football Federation, I understood it was only then they realised what they'd done by entering so many teams into competition. So I'm happy to, you know, help out in a more active way. The players make it easy. They're a really nice bunch of people, and they, as I mentioned earlier, they play for each other. There's no kind of prima donnas or anything like that. And so yeah, so in that sense, the club hasn't changed. It's got the same attitude and the same kind of good feeling about it. But of course, you know, you can't really compare it. We were just playing in small competitions, and now, you know, everything's a little bit more serious and a little bit more formal. Yeah. Well, it's a really nice club where people can come and engage in, you know, pretty harmless activity, which is playing football. And because football's quite a dynamic pastime in some ways, you get the opportunity to kind of engage with other people in a way you wouldn't normally. For example, there are lots of different kind of intelligences on the football field. There's that instinctive type, and then there's the kind of more considered approach. There are all kinds of different ages as well. So I mean, whether people knowingly go onto the football field with the idea that they're going to kind of engage with other people in this kind of dynamic way or not, or they just like kicking a ball about, it doesn't make any difference. It's a kind of it's a pastime that's, you know, quite rewarding when you can play it, and I'm enjoying looking at it as a kind of manager, a 90-minute manager, you know, sort of prowling the touchlines and watching how people interact, and you know, so for me that's interesting. But it's always been like I said before, it's always been a very friendly club, very open club, and long may it continue. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame sometimes when you see clubs here, they're either Latvian or Russian, or predominantly Latvian speaking or predominantly Russian speaking, and I think that's a shame. And I think we've got something quite special here where everybody is accepted, and I think, you know, it's great to see so many locals playing. In the last game, 50% of the side were locals as well, and I think that's important, because you wouldn't want the reputation that it's just for foreigners, for example, because I don't think that's fair, and it's never been that way. It's just been probably the most welcoming to foreigners over the years.
Well, there's already a reserve team in place this season and many plans for other teams. So I guess my last question to you would be, where do you see the future of Riga United? Where is it going?
Well, I know we have some plans for the future that hopefully we'll realise soon, and one of those is a women's team. So that will be taking place hopefully. I know Justin is taking care of that. But the future, maybe in a few years, it'd be really nice if we had 3 adult teams, League 1, League 2 and League 3. Although I think personally that the first team needs to kind of prove itself in League 2 first. We're competitive now, but I think before we go up to League 1, maybe we should be, you know, at the top half of the table. And I know it's a question of money as well. But yeah, why not? What I like about this club is that it's very, very ambitious, but in a nice kind of amateur way. And they've taken on things which, if they had been kind of cautiously thinking about it beforehand, they might not have done. And I know that was the case when I saw Justin and Jeff's faces up in Sigulda during the meeting, when they realised how many games and fixtures they'd have. So. basically, we can develop as a club, we can have more teams, but I think it'd be great if people who have a bit of spare time and are involved with the club can help out. Mark's doing a great job, Artis Kromanis is also doing a great job with the admin, and everyone's getting stuck in. But to expand, it would be great if anybody who feels they've got some free time just come and offer their services. I'm sure, you know, that we can use whatever help we get, and in that way we can move forward in a nice kind of organic, natural way.
Well, that was very insightful. Thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Well, that's it for today. I'll join you next time. Bye bye.